everyone, and welcome to another video here from RESIN Studios. My name is Daniel, and today we're going to tie a small Goby. This is a fly that works exceedingly well for trout in both still water, but in particular on the coast as well. So this is a small baitfish pattern that works very well everywhere where trout and other fish feed on smaller baitfish. So the idea here is to have a fly that is as lively as possible. That's why we're going to use some rabbit zonker strips to make this fly. And to add a bit of contrast, we've added these red bead eyes at the end of the fly. It's a fairly simple fly, it's a fairly inexpensive fly, and this has caught me a lot of fish, in particular here on the Danish coastline, fishing for sea trout in the autumn. But it works all year round, but in particular here in the autumn. I also have a YouTube channel that is centered around fly fishing and fly tying in general. It's called Nordic Anglers, which is also the name of my webshop, where you can find all you could ever possibly need for anything regarding fly fishing. So if you haven't checked that out, please do that. Otherwise, I think we should just start and tie up this small Goby. It's called the baked Goby because it has red eyes, so yeah, and hence the name. If you know the reference, you know the reference. So I'm going to start by adding one of these RESIN light stinger hooks. This is a size 6. You can tie this in a size 8 as well, or even a 4, depending on the size of the small baitfish you have where you fish. The zonker strip really makes this fly come alive and work very well. So that is kind of the main thing here. I personally like zonker flies a lot because they are just amazing to look at in the water, and fish find them very irresistible. I'm going to attach a small set of metallic red bead chain eyes here on the top of the hook. Then I'm going to tie in figure 8s around here, and then I'm also going to tie all the way underneath the eyes to basically hold tight the figure 8s. And to ensure that this is fastened really well and does not move, then I'm going to add a bit of sapper gap to my tying thread, just a small amount here, just applied directly to the thread to make sure that the eye stays in place and this fly doesn't rotate once we begin to fish it. There we go. Oh no, that's not good. I see that I added a bit too much super glue here, so some of it ran down into my bobbin. Let's see how many problems that will cause me later on. And before you really apply a lot of pressure and the last of the glue here, make sure that your eyes are aligned and is exactly where you want them to be. There we go. Then I'm going to move the tying thread down to around the tip of the point here, because that's where we're going to tie down the zonker. Then I'm going to make a small bundle of tying thread to ensure that I have, a sound foundation for my actual zonker strip here. For this I use you can use a squirrel as well, but I think that rabbit is really nice. This is just the natural color of the rabbit, but you could use a barred tan or a brown or an olive. It depends on of course what color scheme the baitfish you're trying to imitate have. But as long as you keep it in some of the natural colors, then it works really well, this one. But of course, if you want one in really hot pink or something, that will probably work as well for other situations. And you can of course basically just tie exactly this fly in whatever color scheme you like. The idea here is basically just to have a small baitfish, and a small baitfish that is very lively in the water, and this type of fly generally does that, so you can just, add or subtract or make this into whatever suits your fancy. Just change everything up as much as you like. Then I've pulled that away, all the hairs here, split the hairs, so I can tie this down here and have, there we go, just fasten it so it's sturdy and secure with the tying thread. Then fold this back and tie with the tying thread all the way up to the zonker here. So it's now pointing backwards. And then we're gonna apply the next thing for the fly here, which is some dubbing. Here I have mixed some squirrel or hare dubbing with some ice dubbing in pearl, just to give it a bit of spark to give it the illusion of scales. And basically just mash some of the dubbing here on the tying thread, and then hold the zonker quite firmly back for the first turns of these, and then basically just move your tying thread with the dubbing all the way up to the eyes. You could have used a dubbing loop if you like, but this is faster and works for me for a pattern like this equally as well. As you can see, I do not take too much care at exactly how I distribute this, because I'm going to use my dubbing brush quite vigorously on the dubbing here to make sure that it fluffs out and gives that kind of see-through effect that a small baitfish would have. There we go. Just remove the last of the dubbing. And then basically just take your dubbing brush there we go. I'm going to take my zonker here and I'm going to turn this forward. Applying a little saliva to keep the hairs strictly on top. Hold it right there, and then just use a few turns of tying thread to fasten it just on top. And I'm tying on top of all the hairs, because otherwise you will not have the right tapering. You can see some of the hairs here are quite short, and that ensures that the zonker wing has the right tapering and looks nice and beautiful for the fly here. There we go. I'll take my scissor and cut off this as close to the eyes as possible. I need to cut as much of this skin here away. But we're going to cover this in a second with a small hackle and a bit of dubbing and a bit more dubbing. So this may look a bit bulky and a bit unruly. That's okay, because we're gonna fix that with some dubbing and hackle. For the hackle, I like to use partridge feather. Partridge is one of my favorite hackles for all sorts of smaller flies like this as well, because I really like how the barring on the partridge look, and you know, the color movement, the color scheme of the feathers. So we're gonna tie down a partridge feather here, just behind the eyes again. Cut away this part. I'm gonna take my hackle plier and attach it to the feather there. And then turn the hackle just behind the eyes, so it's gonna make a natural transition between the wing and the head and the eyes. There we go. Now I can cut away. You can see it nicely makes a nice transition from the wing to the eyes. There we go. Then basically I'm just gonna finish this off by having a small amount of dubbing to cover basically my tying thread, so it doesn't look as abrupt and as black and as, you know, hopeless. And it's also gonna make this fly, give this fly a bit more feel of kind of having a small head up here. There we go. Fold back, take a few turns of the tying thread, make a whip finish, and then scratch out some of the dubbing so that the head here, the finished part of the fly, doesn't look as bulky and as, we're just gonna pull out some of this dubbing here to make it even more, look at even more as a continuation, a complete continuation from the head into the wing to the finished fly. Yeah, that's about it. So here you have it, a small Goby fly that has an amazing movement, has a fixating point for the fish with the red eyes. It has a bit of spike to imitate the gills, and just because of the zonker here, is going to move crazy nice in the water. And this pattern I've caught a lot of fish on this year. This is an excellent pattern for everything trout. Will work really great in streams and still water as well. But in particular for Danish sea trout, this has turned out to be an excellent fly. It's called the baked Goby, and it has my highest recommendation. It catches a lot of fish. So thank you so much for watching this video. And of course, if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the RESIN channel. There are some pretty nice guys, and I'm proud and happy to be able to contribute to the RESIN product in a project in general. Yeah, of course, basically that's it. Thank you for watching, and good luck out on the water.